everyone. Welcome to the first episode of our show. My name is kshowers, and I am the Prevention and Wellness Coordinator for the City of Melrose Health and Human Services Department. I have my master's in public health, and believe it or not, I've been in the field for over 18 years, even though I'm still young at heart. And today I'm joined by Rivard. Ryan has a master's degree in counseling psychology and is a licensed mental health clinician over at Riverside Community Cares, their outpatient center in Linfield. So Ryan, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course. Thanks, Kara. Happy to. And thanks for having me.
So today we're going to chat a little bit about gambling and young people. It seems to me anyway that you can gamble anywhere and everywhere nowadays. And there are just immense opportunities to gamble online. And it just seems to be kind of a rolling snowball.
Yes. Yeah, I would completely agree. And I think definitely, especially over the past couple of years with just the increase in sports betting, I think has been we've seen a huge uptick in gambling and even gambling in youth. So, yeah, as we talk about it, I think it's important just to kind of get just some basic terms as we talk about gambling. And just like any behavior that can become problematic or become addictive in nature, we try to think of this on a continuum, right? So it's not black and white that it's either bad or good or unhealthy or healthy. But that gambling, just like any other behavior, can be on a continuum. So I guess first things first, I think we all have an idea of what gambling is, but just to kind of have a basic shared understanding of that, it's really any time that somebody is risking something of value, doesn't have to be money, really anything of value, on an outcome of an event when you're not sure if you're going to win. It's not certain. There's no A plus B equals C. You could lose, could win, and anytime you're putting value or risking something on that is an act of gambling. So, like I said, it runs on a continuum. So there's people who are non-gamblers. So someone who has never gambled, never done anything, risked anything in their life. So that would be a non-gambler. Social gambling, we would think about that as maybe someone who buys a lottery ticket here and there. When the Powerball's really high, you go and buy one. Doing it for entertainment. There's a casino where you are and you say, I'm going to pick 20, 40 bucks and spend that. I'm not going to spend any more over that. So it's really more random and kind of controlled. After that, there'd be someone who could be considered a problem gambler or problem gambling, and that would be when you start to see some behavior that leads to some negative consequences. So maybe you spent more time gambling than you meant to, maybe risked a little more money that you could have put towards a bill than you should have. People around you might be questioning your gambling behavior a little bit. So starting to see some negative consequences from engaging in gambling. And the final kind of on the continuum we would look at would be someone who meets criteria for a gambling disorder. So that would be someone who really has started impacting many life domains of functioning. They really have tried to stop gambling, maybe can't, are risking way more money they can afford. There might be some deceit and lying to people they love, so that sort of thing. So that's really kind of, I guess, just to give some broad definitions to kind of know where people can land as we're talking about this topic.
That's helpful. Thank you. Why discuss problem gambling and youth, do you think?
Yeah. I think probably, and myself included, years ago, just had sort of a thought of, oh, gambling is an adult at a casino, and that's the only place where we might see this become problematic. Some recent statistics from the state of Massachusetts and the Department of Public Health is that problem gambling actually impacts 4 to 5% of youth aged 12 to 17. And a comparison to that is it actually only impacts 1% of adults, which is a bit higher in that kind of small group. And that means that more than 40,000 adolescents in Massachusetts might struggle with problem gambling. And if we look at kind of high school students, 60 to 80% of high school students report having engaged in gambling in the past year. Now, that doesn't mean that it's become a problem. It doesn't mean that they qualify for any sort of gambling disorder or problem gambling, but that they've engaged in some form of gambling with their peers. Um, and, it's, I think, like we were talking about in the beginning, a real uptick because over the past couple of years, it's really almost quadrupled in how much gambling is prevalent within youth as young as 10. So,
Wow.
um, so those are some stats. I mean, I think, part of it too, Kara, is we think just like any behavior where we're concerned about youth, whether it be substances or not, anything that can become addictive is that we know the brain is still developing until mid 20s. And youth are much more vulnerable for these kind of reward pathways in the brain that get activated with any sort of addictive behavior, gambling included. And I think we always used to put gambling kind of as a silo because you're not ingesting substances, you're not taking anything. There might not be an immediate, medical, physiological kind of thing happening when you take a substance. But we do know that the part of the brain that gets activated with someone who's gambling is pretty similar to the parts of the brain that get activated when someone's getting a high from a substance or sort of that feeling. And the difficulty with it is that almost winning, so you don't actually have to win to kind of get that feeling. That when someone almost wins or that anticipatory win provides the same reward to the brain. So if we think about maybe a high schooler who's betting on, I don't know, some basketball game, his favorite team with peers, um, it's not just waiting till the end of the game. The team wins, the team loses, he wins money, loses money. That whole game, that kind of reward center is activated because we have something of value put on this. And it's sort of the almost winning or the anticipated win that activates that part of the brain too. So,
Wow. Yeah. And I feel like it goes back to what we said at the beginning, too. There's just so many opportunities now, so many more opportunities, right, for young people to be engaging in
yeah,
this.
yeah.
And video games. We have to talk
Yes, video
about,
games.
betting, kind of the way that they're able to disguise it in some ways in video games. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think video games, and I mean, go on to even other types of gaming in kids. I can even speak to I have an 8-year-old son who's obsessed with Pokemon, right? Loves
Yeah.
Pokemon cards. All his kids, all his friends love Pokemon cards. And I'm not saying they're gambling with Pokemon cards, but I've sort of thought about gambling in youth more and read some things. You buy a Pokemon deck,
Mm.
you're waiting to open it to see if you got the rare card. Um, and then, sometimes can we buy one more pack? Because I didn't get the rare card I wanted. Maybe the next pack I'll have it. Um, it's built into small things like that. And I'm not saying that's gambling or a problem at all, but I guess just to kind of open your eyes to know that it's out there, right? Sort of this, um, elements of chance are really embedded in a lot of different games that kids play. So we even look at FIFA, the soccer game, even Mario games, NBA 2K, Fortnite, or just some examples of games that a lot of, youth, middle school, high schoolers play where there is an element of chance in there. There's virtual currency. There's lots of opportunities to purchase what we might call a loot box or something of that nature, where you're kind of using the virtual currency at a chance to get a really great prize compared to an actual prize. So I know even in NBA 2K, there's you can spend a certain amount of coins or whatever for virtual currency, and you might get a really great player to be on your team, right? It's not certain, but you might. And I think again that almost winning that maybe if I just spend more, let me buy one more loot box, and maybe this will be the one where I get the big prize or the great weapon or the really good whatever it is in whatever game they're playing. Um, a 2020 survey actually found that 58% of the top games on Google Play and 59% of the top iPhone games had some element of chance. So had these loot boxes um, somewhere embedded within the game. So there's definitely a correlation between video games um, and gambling and vice versa. I think we even see it in, I don't know if you've last time we've gone to an arcade or like a Dave and Buster's, like I don't know, next time you walk around one of those places, just kind of look and see like how there are so many built-in elements of chance and you're not spending money. I mean, you are on a card, but There's elements of chance built into a lot of those games, right? Um, so it's hard to avoid. And again, I'm not saying this to say, oh my gosh, it's all bad, but I think just noticing where your kids are gravitating towards. Are they really gravitating towards the games of chance where I could win 1,000 tickets and let me play again, maybe I'll get it that time? Or are they gravitating more towards the basketball, skee ball, like what, games of skill?
Mhm.
Um, so just all things to, I think, to be thinking about.
Yeah, something for young people and parents to kind of just be paying a little more attention to, maybe.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned you have a little guy in the household. I have two boys, two teenagers, and the other thing that's out there for sure is a lot of the YouTubers, let's say, the people who are making videos all the time are showing the kids how easy it is that to get the loot box or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
even though they've been playing for 20 hours and they splice the video down to 30 minutes to show you
Yes.
just how easy it is. So things like that our kiddos might be watching,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of normalize things. And back to what you said, some of this is totally fine, and people are, I forget the exact definition that you used, but people are, either social gamblers or non-gamblers or gamers, and
Hmm.
it may not be an issue at all, but I think, couldn't you guide us on how can we tell if someone maybe is struggling with either gaming, gambling, betting?
Yeah. Yeah. I think especially for parents with, kids, and especially in this sort of gaming world. And I know there's a lot of games where um, you might have to have some money in the whatever YouTube Xbox account or whatever to buy certain things, and that might be okay. So just noticing how um, are they asking with kind of a sense of urgency that I need more, I need more, I need more in my account, or I need to play again, or that sort of thing. A little more than usual. I think, any real increase in interest in money or the value of things, value of possessions, any obsessive or kind of quality that you're noticing within that. Um, Obviously, any more conversations about gambling they talk about, just keeping your ears open for anything with their friends or just listening to conversations that you hear. Are they talking about gambling? Are they talking about betting, whether it be sports or otherwise? Um, a disinterest in other activities. So maybe you notice, oh, my kids and their group of friends always used to go outside and play basketball after school, right? And now maybe they're not doing that anymore, or things have shifted. Um, and I think like with any other thing, change in behavior, change in grades, attendance issues at school, any more, being more secretive or defensive. And again, this does not equal that there's a problem there, but I think it's just something to be aware of, um, that, maybe just have the conversation or ask a few more questions if you're noticing these things.
Yeah, that's great advice. And if our listeners feel like there is an issue, where do you think they should go to help a family member or a friend who might be struggling?
Yeah, yep. So I think in Massachusetts there is a hotline, and it's 1-800-327-5050, where they can kind of get some support and resources. You can also visit the website gamblinghelplinema.org. I'll say my agency, Riverside, does run, not for youth currently, but for adults, gambling support groups. Um, and, if you were interested in anything I spoke about or wanting just more resources on kind of the prevalence of this, the Massachusetts Council on Gaming and Health has a lot of different things, and even the ma.gov website. They have a great resource there on talking to your kids about gambling. It actually has like activities and discussion points. So if this is something you're wanting to talk to your kiddo about or just start the conversation, they have some great resources there as well.
Awesome. And you set me right up for I ordered 20 of these Let's Talk Risk,
Yeah.
like
Oh, perfect.
the
Yeah, that's the
card.
one.
Yeah, it's like there's and actually I tried it out with my 13-year-old to see what he thought about it. But there's like memory cards in here and facts and, like you said, ways for parents to start talking to their kids a little bit. I have 20 of them at the health department right now. So if anyone is on Main Street in Melrose and wants to pop into City Hall, those are in our office for anyone that would like to start conversations with their grandkids or their kiddos. So thank you. And
thank you.
That's all the time we have for today, but really appreciate you, Ryan, and Riverside Community Cares. And of course, we can't thank MMTV enough for pulling this all together and making this happen. It's important info to get out there. So I'm glad we're starting to talk about it. And Ryan, I hope I can get you back on here for a part 2 coming up. That would be lovely. And I appreciate all your tips and knowledge today.
Awesome. No, thank you. This was great, and happy to kind of get the word out and just get people thinking and talking about this more. So
thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.